Hi everyone, Teresa Aker here. I'm bringing you some interesting clips, just ideas and things I've learned since I hit 50. And actually, I'm 60 now. I'm over 60. But the reason I'm telling you since 50 is these are the changes that occurred, things that I can remember that I went through, and ideas for you. So whether you're 50, 60, 70, whatever you are, these are just things I've learned along the way that I thought I'd share with you. But on top of that, I want you to share your ideas with me. So let's say as you go, you think, oh, Teresa, I also learned this, or I had something that happened to me that I can share with you and your audience. I want to hear from you. Okay. So leave it in the notes. Let's do this together. I think it's going to be a little bit of fun because when we hit 50, some things are changing big time. And I wanted to start with one of the big things was as soon as I hit 50, I noticed a big change in I used to walk every day or run every day, dependent. And I was in pretty good shape. So I thought, okay. And so I could eat whatever I wanted, do whatever I wanted. Then wham, I hit 50 and everything I ate started to stick to my hips or my arms or all of that. And I was absolutely walking and or running every day. I lifted weights, not big weights, just 3-pound weights. But I definitely did all of those things. And I found it wasn't so easy. And I would have dinner with my husband. He was quite a bit older than me, but boy, he could eat whatever he wanted, and it didn't seem to bother him. So I thought, he's a lot older. I can just keep doing what we're doing. But it was affecting me. And in fact, it was starting to get me down. So I don't know if some of you get down with this, but I'm just like, I don't like any of this. So I took a course. I thought I'll just take a course. Now I'm not a nutritionist. So whatever I'm telling you, definitely go see your doctor. But honestly, what I'm telling you is all just nutrition stuff that I learned, things that aren't going to do too much. They're just, the big thing was the switch up. And that's what I'm bringing you today. So you're basically still eating those foods that you're eating, but I learned some switch up ideas. So I thought I'd bring that to you today. So I'm glad you joined me because I'm going to teach you all of this stuff that I learned, and I can't wait to hear your ideas. So this is called the switch up. So what happened was, remember I said, so I was working and my husband was retired, and I always did the cooking because he didn't cook. But when it was his turn, because he retired, he would go and order things in, or he'd go get takeout, bring it home, and he'd say, honey, I made you dinner. So I was grateful, but even I knew, oh boy, too much of this, but I ate it anyway. What the heck? And we had a great time, and it was a great fun time together to have dinner. But it was affecting me. I was gaining weight. I didn't feel so good. I was definitely struggling in that area. So when I took this course, they taught us a couple of things I was very grateful for. So again, I'm not a nutritionist, so definitely ask your doctor and your counselors of any of your nutrition ideas, but this is pretty good. So switch. That's what they taught us. So let's say you're going to have a hamburger. So you put your condiments on it, you got the hamburger. Instead of a bun, it was simple. You can't even believe this, simple. Lettuce. Take your lettuce on the outside ones and put it around your hamburger. And I actually take a couple of them, wrap them really tight, and it does make it look like it makes it feel and look like a hamburger. So now you're having the hamburger, same as everybody else. You're having your dinner with everyone, but it's lettuce instead of a bun. It definitely makes a difference. So what I'm doing there is just cutting down some of those carbs. Carbs aren't bad for you, but you just can't have too many, right? And the sugars, the sugars in the buns. So I definitely switched it up, and it did lighten my calories, my caloric intake for the day. So that made a difference. Now I still have bread, but I have, instead of white bread, here's another switch up. I would have, and I'll write it out for you. It was called pumpernickel bread or rye bread. It does make a difference in that instead of white or a bun, I definitely would have that. And I only had one slice. So I would take it. And if I wanted to have a sandwich, I would do it in half. So just cut it in half and use both sides. What I was doing was just reducing that caloric intake and making it a little bit healthier. And so instead of white bread, I just switched it up. Instead of wheat, I had pumpernickel. I would have rye bread, just to switch it up and make it a little bit better for me. So another thing I did in the morning, sometimes I would skip breakfast, but I did find at the halfway through the day, I would think I didn't have breakfast, so I can have whatever I want. I ended up eating more than I should, and that stayed with me too. So I definitely switched up and definitely had breakfast, but that worked for me. I don't know what works for you, but I'm just giving you ideas I had. So what I would do is take an egg. I definitely didn't fry it. I would definitely poach it or boil the egg. And I would take avocados, which were really avocados, and I would mash them, mash the avocados, put them on my toast, right? Then I would take a little bit of garlic salt or an olive oil, definitely put olive oil on it, and just drizzle that over, and then put the egg on. And boy, it's so delicious. Give it a try. But the avocado is good for you, and the egg, you're getting your nutrients out of the egg. And you can look all of this up. It's really quite simple, and it makes for a light breakfast, and it gives you that nourishment in the morning. I found it worked for me because when I didn't have breakfast, I found I tended to overeat. Maybe you don't, and that's great. But for me, I definitely ate too much later on in the day. So I did that. Another thing is, so with that switch up, we did a lot of the switch ups here. When you go to the restaurant, let's go back to the fast foods. When you're having French fries, of course, we know they're not good for us. But if you have something baked instead. So let's say you have a baked potato, or throw it in the oven, slice it up and throw it in the oven with a bit of olive oil. That's okay. That's a carb. And again, you decide what's good for your diet. But I found that I got rid of that sort of fried stuff, and I could still have a potato if I wanted. I'd slice them. I like to slice mine, put a little bit of olive oil on it, put some garlic on it, maybe some parsley. Parsley looks nice on food. And I would put that on. And boy, oh boy, it did make a difference. And I was able to take my diet and really start to look at, oh, I could switch this up, switch that up. I would have, before I had any meal, I would have a glass of water. But guess what else I learned to do? Take a little bit of lemon and put that in the water, and then had that before I had my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So whatever I was having, have a glass of water first. And I found that made me feel like I didn't need to eat as much. And it did make a difference for me. So I'm hoping that works for you too. So those are the switch up things, some of them. When I go to a fast food restaurant or any kind of restaurant, I certainly love restaurant food. I would order, instead of French fries, I would have salad, but some of the dressings, and they are delish. Some of the dressings are wonderful, but not so good for you. So what I would do is just ask them to bring me the salad dressing on the side, and I would get balsamic vinegar with that, or olive oil, whatever I was going to put on it, but on the side. So then I could control the amount. All of this is just little switch ups, little things to help us along the way, because they're, for me, and I'm thinking for you after 50, that it's certainly, no matter what we do, our bodies are changing, and we really have to be careful and take care of ourselves. So these are just things I've learned along the way. I thought I would share with you. If you want to give them a try, if you want to know what else I do, I'd love to hear from you. But maybe you've heard some things, or you've done some things that you thought, hey, I'd like to share this. I'd love to hear that, because we're all going through it. We're all, not everybody's 50, but anybody over 50, boy, it makes a difference, doesn't it? And I'm actually over 60, and I'm finding even over 60, it's starting to change on me again. I brought this for you. I lift weights. I don't do heavy weights. These are my 10-pound weights. I don't normally use this all the time, but I definitely, if I'm going to do some lifts with my hands, I use one and I lift it. That's 10 pounds only. So I start with a 3 and then move to a 10, but not often during the week. I usually use my 3-pound weights just to give myself a little resistance. And the 10 pounds are just if I'm feeling like I'm really physically wanting to get a little bit more weight. But I highly recommend, if you can, use 3-pound weights and use those just to give yourself resistance. So I just letting you know what I do. I walk in the morning or at the end of the day. As the autumn has come, I find at the end of the day when it's still sunny, I like to do that. But I usually walk in the morning. So I do walk about half an hour to 45 minutes every day. That's just to get my heart going, my blood pumping and all of that. I just feel, for me, and for, I don't know if you feel that way, but to keep our heart going, I think it's important to walk. And then during the day, I have 3 meals a day. I definitely switch out any fats that I can. Now, I want to stress too that if you cook from home and you're cooking in the oven and you're baking instead of frying, wow, you've just helped yourself big time there. Frying is really, as I understand it from my courses and from online, and I researched a lot online too, and you certainly probably have too. The fats in the deep fried stuff, I really try to avoid. So if I can use olive oil on it, if I can bake things instead of frying, if I can use more natural things like garlic and paprika and parmesan and things like that, I can put on my vegetables and whatever I'm having. I'm not a vegetarian, so I definitely eat meat, but I will switch up the buns if I'm having a hamburger at home, quite often I'll just put that right on the plate without a bun and have the salad. I still do definitely, as I said to you, I have pumpernickel or rye. I definitely have that, but I just try to keep the portions down, try to keep that. I'm not trying to necessarily lose weight. I want to keep my body toned. That's the big thing. So that's why I walk. That's why I try to do breathing exercises. I do meditate. I don't know if you've tried meditation. I tried yoga once. It just didn't work for me. I know a lot of people that do. Boy, my sister-in-law does yoga and my friends do yoga. I just found it really hard for me. So I definitely walk and I do stretches. Of course, I do that. And online, I've learned some stretches that I can do that seem to work for me. So it keeps my body limber and keeps going. The walking helps, of course. I lift the weights. I do try to find exercises that aren't so hard on me because I'm actually not that thrilled about exercising, but my future self, I want to be happy and healthy. So I do what I have to do. The other thing is once we hit 50, of course, I don't think we're doing what we used to do. Maybe you're retired. I don't know. I'm not retired, but I'm not doing what I used to do. So I'm not as active going to the office. I'm not as active walking up and down the halls, going to different offices when I had to do that. Just as simple as going out to go to the washroom. You had to go down the hall and to the office washroom. So you were always moving. I'm not moving as much now in my 60s. So I really have to consciously make those moves. I'm just giving you ideas that I do. And boy, I found it worked for me. Helps with breathing too, the meditation and the walking. We can get deep breaths and do all of that. And as we all know, that's important too. So now if you have health issues and all of that, totally get it. You have to do what you have to do. And I always probably stress this a couple of times in here, check with your doctor. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just giving you ideas of what I've done that I'm sharing with you. Yeah, it's all fun. And on top of that, I want to hear from you. I really do. I think it's great to share ideas in our age group where we're in that area of life where we might be empty nesters and we're on our own. I'm going to bring you a video actually about what happened when my husband passed away and how I got through that grief, because it was tremendous grief, and how I overcame it and what I did and how my life has changed. I'm going to bring you that story too. I definitely talk about it in my podcast on Success Diaries with Teresa Aker, but this is going to be more granular. I'm just going to talk about the day it happened, what I did, how I got help, what my emotional state was, and how I got through all of that. I'm hoping that'll help you. Again, not a doctor, but these are experiences I've had, and I know you've had experiences. You might have had them in when you retired, what you did then, you became an empty nester, what you did, your lifestyle changes, you maybe downsized, maybe you got a bigger home, whatever you did. I'd love to hear that because people think, oh, I don't know what to do now. And maybe you'll give them some great ideas. But the big thing as I wanted to talk to you about was health. I really wanted to say I did find it hard to face 50 and 60. It wasn't as easy, and thought I would give you some ideas and thoughts I had along the way and some tips and tricks to make it easier for all of us. So thank you for joining me today. This is Teresa Aker at Life After 50, and I am so thrilled that you came. Do give me a thumbs up, if you will, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me. But most of all, I want to hear from you because it does make a difference when we share our stories, doesn't it? Thank you again. My name's Teresa Aker. I hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to talking to you soon.